Yes, it's been a long time coming. I've had this one in the bank for some time now. I've already done a top 10 best Kendrick Lamar songs a few years ago, but I've never done a worst to best. But now we've hit 6 studio albums and we've let the buzz kind of cool down a little bit from GNX. It's been like 5-ish months since that one came out. It now seems like a good time to put that in a ranking amongst his 5 other albums, and I can confidently do it without it feeling like any recency bias or without it feeling too soon. It's time, guys. It's time. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Notice how I said 6 as well. Kendrick obviously does have Overly Dedicated as a mixtape. He also has Untitled and Mastered. He also has the Black Panther soundtrack. I think it's fair to exclude those, okay? Especially the Black Panther one. Like, that's not his own album. That's a bunch of all kinds of artists coming together. And, Untitled and Mastered is B-sides, Overly Dedicated mixtape. Like, I'm just going to stick to the studio albums. Even though those projects mentioned do have some really great songs on them, some pretty overlooked songs in the context of his career. But I think you guys are okay with me sticking to the 6. What can be said about Kendrick that hasn't already been said, that I haven't already said? I mean, well, what can I say? What can I say? So, you know what it is. You know the guy. If you're a fan, you're a fan. You know his brilliance. You know his pen. You know his absolute genius at times. I can't express any more words about how good I think he is. So, yeah, we're going to do a worst to best. Hopefully you're going to agree with it. You might not, though, but hopefully you will. And, keep it civil. Let's see what your worst to best ranking is in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're doing all of that good YouTube stuff, liking the video, sharing it around, all that stuff. And then if you're feeling super generous and you like what I do, maybe consider supporting me over on the Patreon, on the membership page, all of that as well. You get your own perks in exchange. But without further ado, let's rank his 6 albums from worst to best, starting with number 6.
High power, throw your hands up for high power.
I think in a stacked discography such as Kendrick Lamar's, where you have albums that are in like the all-timer discussions, it's okay to have Section 80 at the bottom, right? Like, come on, like this isn't that bad of a pick to put at the bottom of Kendrick's discography when there are just so many brilliant albums that he's put out already. I think this is okay. To me, like a good comparison would be something like, I don't know, Kate Bush's Red Shoes. Like, there's nothing wrong if you like that album, but you can't tell me it's top 3 Kate Bush. Like, come on, you're just not doing it, and you're not going to convince me with Section 80 either. Like, there's just no way. There's just no way. And honestly, I have a bit of a hot take with this album generally, that I actually think overall it's pretty nondescript. Like, there isn't really that much that stands out to me. I think Kendrick's rapping ability is obviously displayed, but when you just kind of pick apart some of the tracks and some of the actual like details in the production and the hooks particularly, I think are kind of weak across the board on this album actually. But like there just isn't that much that really like pops out to me or makes me kind of go, oh yeah, Kendrick is this, Kendrick is that. Like the identity just isn't quite there. And I wasn't listening to Kendrick Lamar or much hip hop at all in 2011. I was still at school. This wasn't really that like my kind of thing. But like if I had heard this in 2011, I would just be like, okay, yeah, sure. Like I don't know. Like there wouldn't be like something that rings in my mind that tells me this guy is going to go on to make Good Kid, Mad City a year later. Like it just doesn't feel like the same guy to me. Like even the tone of his voice on some of the tracks feels a little bit different. It kind of feels a little bit like he's just kind of fading into the background a bit, or kind of just like any kind of rapper in like the early 2010s. Like aside from tracks like Rigor Mortis or High Power, like those tracks are like, okay, this guy's got something unique. There's something there. But the rest of it, I don't really feel like I get much out of. Like, I mean, No Makeup is just hideous. that chorus is horrible, man. One of Kendrick's worst songs, easily, like sonically. So like in terms of the music, that's got to be one of Kendrick's worst ever songs. And yeah, everything else just kind of so-so. I don't know though. I feel like not many people agree with this. People tend to think that Section 80 is this brilliant album, but I've struggled to find a lot that really stands out. So yeah, easily his worst, but his worst in a way that kind of surprises me, to be honest. Like it's just not one that's ever clicked. I go back to it every few years. I'll play it and just be like, let's just see if I've missed something. And I don't really feel like I ever have. So yeah, like I say, some great standouts, but overall just kind of so-so. But wait till you see what's next, because this is the one that is harder to judge.
Maybe I wasn't there.
Yeah, for anybody that knows me well, will be unsurprised to see this, but if you're clicking on the channel maybe for the first time or haven't followed all of my opinions since I've started this channel, this might be surprising and will be harder to explain or justify having this here than maybe some of his other albums in their positions, because Damn is a beloved album, and Damn, up until this point, is pretty much Kendrick's like big one. I think GNX is kind of closing in over time, might even surpass it. It's hard to really say, it's too early, but GNX commercially has been massive and a huge success. But at this point, Damn is pretty much the one album for Kendrick that's just, you know, beyond his other ones. And yeah, I mean, I appreciate the fact that this is so commercial, because when you actually kind of dig into the concepts and the individual tracks and what he's going for, I mean, it's pretty remarkable that something like this did become so successful, because it isn't just Kendrick sacrificing all of his, you know, writing chops or, you know, kind of dumbing things down just to get a mainstream hit. It certainly isn't that. But musically at times it does feel like weaker moments than his previous stuff, and some really awkward singing moments too. Like, I don't know if Kendrick really should have gone for some of those melodic tracks in the way he does, like, you know, God, Yeah, Loyalty, which I think is again a really weak moment for him. But these tracks have done well for him, so it feels like I'm kind of just speaking into the void and nobody's really agreeing with me, really, because, you know, Loyalty was a hit, but I just find that sample usage really awkward. It just sounds really grating to my ears. Yeah, there's just something not really clicking with this album for me. Like, over the years, I have grown to appreciate tracks like Pride and Love more. In fact, Pride particularly stands out a lot more to me now. So, like, there are elements that have grown on me. But it's just not enough really to put it above the other albums in his catalogue, when again, it is just so stacked. So something has to be at the bottom, right? Something has to be in the bottom too. And it just so happens that Damn is here. But what puts it above Section 80 for me is just those highs, like DNA, Fear, like, oh, incredible tracks, like genuinely amazing songs. And again, DNA becoming a hit is kind of crazy, because just like a song like that would never usually become a hit. It just shows that Kendrick is kind of built different in that sense. But yeah, the lyrics on Fear blow me away. You know, Duckworth is very well written as well. Like, there's lots of good tracks on here. It's not all me saying it's all bad, but just something never quite came together for me on the musical level. Something just never quite clicked. Some moments just sound a little weak. And yeah, just had to be at fifth. But I know some people will disagree with that. But I think you can understand, again, like, such a stacked discography, you're going to have to rank it in some order, right? This guy has all-timers in his catalogue. Like, something has to be dropping lower to make way for the other ones. And the next one is, well,
I hope you find some peace of mind in
Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Yes, an album that still gets a really strange discourse surrounding it, mostly because commercially it didn't do that well. So it's very easy to just kind of use that as a stick to beat it with, because, oh, Kendrick's this like big guy who thinks he's like trying to compete with Drake and his numbers are nowhere near. It is very much that crowd that used that against Kendrick with this album. But Jesus Christ, what world are you living on if you think an album like this was supposed to be a commercial smash hit? Kendrick was clearly not thinking about the charts when he was making this album, man. Like, sometimes you just need to accept that not every artist is making music for that purpose. Come on. Mr. M.A.A.d and the Big Steppers has so much going for it and is one of the most unique albums we've ever heard in the history of hip-hop. And you could literally say that about every single Kendrick album, actually, which is kind of crazy. But this tackles subjects that are so hard to sit down and listen to and to stomach, and honestly can make people feel more uncomfortable having to think about the things that Kendrick is talking about on this album. Having, issues with your father, having, trauma that you're dealing with throughout years and years and years, and finally having to, stop suppressing that trauma and let it kind of, rise to the top and face it head on. And this album is so important for doing this, really. Just remarkable that Kendrick would touch such, a difficult topic and make it into this double album that kind of feels like a theater piece. It kind of feels like a play. And the way it kicks off on the album with that kind of beat as well on United in Grief, kind of plays into that as well. But I'm not going to go into all of the ins and outs of all of that. I feel like Dissect Podcast probably has you covered there. But yeah, just all of the themes and his diaries. Again, another moment on the album where it's just like, who in hip hop would ever make a song like this? Who in hip hop would ever, hold the mirror against yourself and just be like, right, let's talk about these homophobic stereotypes that we have plaguing this genre of music and kind of like work together to defeat it. Mother I Sober, one of the most beautiful songs, like seriously, insanely stunning track. And in the end, Kendrick realizes that this pedestal that he's been placed on, this savior that he isn't, he has to choose himself. He has to make himself better for his children, for future generations, for the fans who needed to hear this as well. And yeah, ultimately, he has to choose himself and focus on himself and be a better person because of his, trauma that's turned him into who he is, how he isn't always the best partner to Whitney. Like, all of these things need to be improved. And yeah, what an important album, because it just like absolutely highlights that, yes, Kendrick is this famous star that so many people are aware of, but he's willing to put his flaws out there for you to see and tackle them with you while the album plays. It's not perfect. I think there are some weaker tracks on it. I don't go back to every song. I think, like the Kodak Black feature, I understand why it's there, but I don't really want it there. Like, there are some weak tracks on this like 16 track album for sure. But what it represents, I think, is too important to not have it here.
The black Noah, I just strangled me a goat. I walked in with a therapeutic flow,
Yeah, GNX is the newest release here and hasn't been out too long. But I'm committing to it, man. I'm putting this at number 3 in its discography. And I was pretty confident that it landed here the minute it came out. But I was like, you know what? Sometimes we can do this with albums upon release. We can get a little bit overexcited. The buzz can kind of be so hype and you can just get caught up in the moment. But that's why I was like, let's wait a few months. Let's just keep going back to it. And yeah, for me, the surprising ranking here of it being above Damn is something I'm going to stand by, and maybe one that, over time people might understand more and more. But I've been crying out for a long time for Kendrick to just kind of give us something that feels more fun. And even by saying that, it's kind of funny because this album has Reincarnated on it, which is like just Kendrick once again showing everybody how insane of a writer he really is. But outside of that, it really does kind of do what Damn did, but better for me. You know, even the melodic singing R&B moments that you get on Luther, Gloria, are some of Kendrick's most beautiful songs. And for me, that does what I wanted Damn to do. There was never a problem with Damn going in a more commercial, quote unquote, direction. That was never my problem. It was never the fact that Kendrick was trying to sound mainstream or it was a mainstream sounding album. It was how he approached those tracks that didn't quite work for me. Whereas on GNX, TV Off, Squabble Up, like these are kind of mainstream rap bangers, and yet they hit really hard and they're super replayable and they are still really enjoyable as well. And then, like I say, the more melodic R&B cuts, Luther, again, does what I wanted tracks like God to do or tracks like Love to do. Gloria as well, which also has Scissor on but doesn't seem to be taken off anywhere near as much as Luther is, which is a bit of a shame because both tracks are really great. But yeah, just doing everything that I wanted, just a carefree Kendrick album to do. He's just focusing on having a bit more fun, being a bit more silly. Some of his vocal like techniques are bizarre as hell on tracks like Hey Now or particularly Peekaboo. Like the way he says that is just so ridiculous. It's so outrageously silly, but yeah, it works really well. And he starts things out with whacked out murals. He tells you on that track that he doesn't want like any double entendres. He just wants you to feel this. And I think that's entirely what he's going for across this album. Yeah, for me, I just haven't been able to put it down. Like I still play probably at least a couple of tracks every single day since release. It's become one of my most played albums ever. And it's only 5 months old, sorry. Which is insane because usually I don't really play albums like that so consistently. For my personal listening habits, I tend to kind of put albums down for a while and then go back to them. But this album's broke that kind of formula that I tend to stick by. So it's just ended up at number 3 for me, and I think people will be a little bit surprised, but it's I don't know. It feels right. And I think I will still be saying this in a few years' time too. I still don't like the title track. Don't like that one. But Dodger Blue is super underrated. That is very, very nice. Ooh, don't take it personal. Yeah, great album. And it ranks at number 3 for me.
Everybody don't respect the shooter, but the one in front of the gun.
At number 2. This is where the number 1 is given away, really. But it was probably obvious anyway. Good Kid, M.A.A.d City ranks as Kendrick's second best album, in my opinion. And honestly, is there really that much of a major debate here? Probably not. I think it's very fair to rank it either or. If you have Good Kid, M.A.A.d City as your number 1, I think that's okay. I kind of feel like Good Kid, M.A.A.d City is a generational album that is insane that any artist could top, because in a lot of rappers' discographies, this would be the best album that they've ever made, which is a kind of a silly thing to say because, individuals would make albums in different ways. Like, DaBaby wouldn't make a Good Kid, M.A.A.d City, obviously. But I just feel like the quality, like making an album of this quality, I think a lot of rappers would be calling it their best work if they were able to touch this. And yeah, it's absolutely incredible. It's an amazing story. It feels like it runs like a movie. It feels like it could be a movie, honestly. And the skits all kind of play into each other. The storytelling is remarkable as well. The songs themselves, M.A.A.d City, Money Trees, still to this day, super replayable. Just absolute timeless bangers, timeless anthems, swimming pools, amazing concept with that one as well. Just crazy. And then you've got kind of the more, conscious or soulful or deeper tracks like The Art of Peer Pressure, perhaps, which is a brilliant track. You've also got Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. Like, this is where the streaming argument will never wash with me, because this doesn't have that many streams, but genuinely is in the conversation for greatest rap song ever, like genuinely. and it goes on for so long too, and it doesn't waste a second, doesn't waste a minute. Just incredible writing, just wow. And it made me so happy that I saw on TikTok and things, like once Kendrick has started to have that major boost after the Super Bowl, like where his numbers just went crazy high, there were loads of TikToks of people like talking about or making videos with this song in the background, and it was like the first time they'd ever heard it. And it's like, how crazy must it be to hear this song for the first time again? I'd love to experience that. But yeah, amazing stuff. Compton is a great track too, kind of underrated. It feels really celebratory, kind of feels like it ties the album together really well. Yeah, come on, man. Just what an album. What an album. But yet somehow he took that storytelling one step further and gave us the #1 album.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas, I be looking at you for...
Yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly is what I think is Kendrick's best album. Pretty easy to kind of just end a worst to best with an album like this, because I feel like most people would be saying this is his #1 in the comments. And yeah, it's pretty much in the greatest albums of all time discussion now, actually. Like, it's not just an amazing achievement in the world of hip-hop and rap music, it's an amazing achievement in the world of music generally. It's absolutely crazy how excellent this album truly is. Yeah, what can I say? I've spoken about this album so many times. I did a best rap albums of the 21st century list recently as well. You should go check that out. I talked about it there. So much has been said about it, but yeah, it still blows me away every time. And it kind of feels a little bit of a slightly misunderstood album, because the way people label it is just like, oh, sad, depressing raps and like slave music or whatever the hell people can throw at it, which is crazy to say. Like, this album is so much more than that. It's more of a dissection of oneself, while also kind of like tackling the social and societal things that come along with it. Like, sure, yeah, it tackles race and racism, obviously, but it also has a song like You on it. Like, the freaking hell, Kendrick Lamar made You. Kendrick Lamar made You and ripped himself apart, and then other rappers think they can try and beat him in a rap beef. How can you tear apart the guy that already tore apart himself? Come on, man. Come on. And yeah, just the music as well. That can't be, you know, stated enough how brilliant it sounds. Just like some of the psychedelic soul and some of the instrumentals that have this like funky, like classic 70s sound. It's all incredible. You know, Wesley's Theory, These Walls. Oh, god damn, man. And then you've got like the visceral, absolute explosiveness of a track like The Black of the Berry. You've got Mortal Man with that incredible poem at the end that kind of ties the whole album together and basically just kind of explains what the whole thing was all about. And then the Tupac interview, of course, as well. There's just so much about this album that you look at and go, this was never done before. This was never done before. This was never done before. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy how many things you can point to on this album. Just think, nobody was ever doing this. So yeah, it is in that all-time conversation easily. One of the best rap albums ever, and one of the best albums ever too. Like, all genres, we don't need to just be talking about this as just one genre here. This is up there with the very, very best. And it's his best album to me as well, quite easily too. Good to Give Mad City is a great second place. It's an amazing album. But yeah, it could only ever be To Pimp a Butterfly for me. Yeah, I'm sure many of you will agree. And that is it from me. Thank you very much for watching this video. This is Kendrick Lamar's worst to best. There will be some surprises, but some very clear and obvious placements as well. But I'd love to see your thoughts on my list, how you feel about what I said in the video, and also make sure you rank yours in the comments too, and let me know what your list would look like. And that's it from me. Make sure you are subscribed, liking the video, sharing it for other people to see, and also, if you're feeling very generous as well, please make sure you are considering checking out my Patreon membership page, all that good stuff as well. You get your own perks on there. So thank you as always. Do have a good day. Yeah, enjoy the music. Goodbye.